right, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Everyone that's listening to us on the podcast with our good partners over Believe, we greatly appreciate you joining the show. All comments read on the live show come from Facebook and Twitter. So always come and join our shows live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at 7 p.m. Central Time. The comments. Dylan Landry, you got beat tonight, bro. You got beat tonight, Dylan. Colin Thibodeau on Facebook Live beat you. Colin says, let's do the thing. Dylan Landry says, let's go. James Washington says, early? Am I? I thought I started at 7 on the dot. Let's see. Gerard says, at least getting a good LSU guy on the Saints at least helps ease the pain of LSU. Yeah, Kwon Alexander traded from the San Francisco 49ers to the New Orleans Saints. Mark LaGrange says, let's go. Appreciate all of you joining in. Marvin Mackey says, Rudy Poo. Yeah, it's been Rudy Poo around here. Guys, you can call into the show, 225-435-9387. That's 225-435-9387. Do us a favor, all 61 of you, hit the retweet, like, and share on Facebook. Share into some groups. As always, we'll greatly appreciate it. But we got a good show in store for you tonight. I want to hear a lot of your feedback. If you want to call in, I will give you the ability to do so and tell me what you think about what happened this past Saturday. Now, there was some good news over the last week in reference to recruiting. You got Jack Beck, the 3-star wide receiver, 6'2", 215 pounds, out of Lafayette. Sage Ryan. We're going to talk a lot of depth in just a second about Sage Ryan and how even that goes into the complexity of what's going on at LSU, y'all. The complexity of you almost losing Sage Ryan. We will talk about that as well. Also, I'm going to break down the game. What did I see? What is my Tell the Truth Monday? What are my 10 things? Some things you're not going to like, but it needs to be told. And it might make some people upset, but it's just the God's honest truth, and that's why you call it Are You Serious Sport? The God's honest truth. All right, before we get to some of y'all's comments, yes, we're talking about the Saints and their break and the breakdown of that game. God, they give me a heart attack every single week. But before we get to that, guys, you got to go check out our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repair, routine maintenance, tire repair, tire replacement, tire sales, and any automotive repair you need, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2500 Florida Boulevard, Denham Springs, Louisiana. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. And if your car is just a little too damn beat up, go see the number one car salesman and or Ford salesman in the state of Louisiana. I thought my guy, Woody Clark, was making it up, but he's not. You see the plex there, 225-603-5432. That's 225-603-5432. Go see him over at Robertson's Brother Ford, 11455 Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And tell him your friend, Blake Ruffino, at AYS sent you. Okay. I see some of the comments. David says he's finally out of Facebook jail. Preach, brother. Josh Taylor, one of my former coaches, has South Alabama scheduled us on their homecoming game yet? No, they haven't. Blake McGraw, my good friend. What's up, Blake? He says, I'm opting out. Got to get back to the basics, make some young hires, and win this team back over. Loads of young talent. Blake, let me start off here because you guys tune in because I sit here and rant my ass off. Let me start here. I've been hearing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks that, Blake, this team's just too young. They have young talent all across the board, and they do. Can you guys tell me what this sounds like? Jacoby Stevens, Glenn Logan, Ali Gay, Neil Farrell, Damone Clark, Micah Baskerville, Todd Harris, Derek Stingley, Ed Ingram, Terrace Marshall, Austin Deculus, Chris Curry, who started against Oklahoma, Ty Davis Price, John Emery, Jonte Kirkland, who's been there for 4 years, the number one corner in the nation, Eli Ricks, Andre Anthony, who's a fifth-year senior. Do I need to continue? Mo Hampton, that also got a lot of playing time. Now, my shirt's not inside out. No, bro, your shirt is inside out. No, big dog. It ain't inside out, says Stephen Miller texting me up on the hotline. No, dog. I know you've been drinking. Stephen Miller just texted me and said that my shirt was inside out. No, I don't think so, dog. No, we got the Columbia right here. It's the lighting. Steve. But you guys want to continue to tell me that this team has young talent? Where on the defense? Oh, well, Blake, you got a true freshman corner starting. What was Derek Stingley last year? Remind me what he was. Now, I posted this picture on Twitter, and I should have posted it on Facebook. Jacoby Stevens in the open field got stiff-armed by Bo Nix for a touchdown. A lot of people are coming on their shows. They have the opinion, and they're right to their opinion. And I am not going to push it back on coaching right now. Listen to me. At some point, we have been bitching about coaching for 4 whole weeks. Y'all do know that South Carolina beat Auburn 2 weeks ago, right? Like, we understand that South Carolina beat Auburn 2 weeks ago and put 52 points on the board. Guys, newsflash, you can't get more simple than what they're doing on defense right now. Man coverage across the board. And then Ed Orgeron comes on today on his press conference and says, hey, man, hey, guys are getting confused. Confused about what? Now, I heard a lot of you saying promote Corey Raymond to defensive coordinator. I think Corey Raymond's a damn fine young coach. A damn good coach. DBU, right? LSU's DBU. But he can't even communicate with Bill Bush and the safeties. What makes you think that he's going to be able to communicate on all the other 11 players that are on the field on what it is that they need to do? Bo Pelini's got to take the blame for a lot that's going on. Now, I've given you guys a platform. I've taken your phone calls. I've listened to what you said. But at some point, at some stupid point, we have to sit here and be realistic that you have no heart. Ed Orgeron, where is it? Because let me tell you something. Against Mississippi State, when you got 3 years ago, when you got your teeth kicked in, you made sure that your players knew, and the next week they trotted their happy butts out there and they won you a damn football game. Has any of you ever seen the movie The Replacements? Do you remember when Martell, the quarterback, came in for Shane Falco, and at halftime, the coach hits his chest? Heart. Let me type this out. And I want you guys to understand the pun that I'm about to throw in here. Miles and miles of heart. Where's the heart? Michael Ray, thank you, my friend. Just like the Troy loss. You got clapped by Troy, and the next week you go out and beat a ranked Florida? You had a guy in Devin White who came out the week before, or the week that you were going in to Gainesville to play Florida, and said, this ain't going to fly, y'all. It ain't going to fly. By the way, Twitter blocked this right here, by the way. Twitter said I can't say miles and miles of heart. Miles Brennan, I'm going to send this to you and we're going to cut it up. Miles and miles of heart. It's time to step up. It's time for somebody to step up. If you're on that coaching staff, step up. If you're a player on that staff or on that team, step up. Because I have the entire defensive lineup and defensive roster right here, and I see 6 seniors that are starting. 6. Don't tell me this team's young. I like Blake's mad face. At some point, somebody's got to come in that locker room like Joe Burrow and find the biggest, baddest dude in that locker room and say, hey, Devin White, I know that your biceps are bigger than watermelons, but you know what, big dog? This is my team now. Get on my program because this is my time and you play for my team. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate that. But for the life of me, all of you saying Corey Raymond needs to be the DC, make sure that he can figure out how to communicate with Bill Bush and how he can communicate with corners and safeties. You want to know the truth? You want to see this entire, now let's get into the coaching. You want to talk about the entire coaching staff? You almost lost Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan, the 5-star defensive back out of Lafayette, whose uncle played at LSU, who actually left LSU because the guy that was coaching him at the time, Nick Saban, who's now at Alabama, he didn't like. Arguably, outside of Joe Burrow, maybe top 2, top 3 best players of all time, Kevin Falk, who's on the staff, and you almost lost him to Alabama because of why? Why did you almost lose him? Because you have no focus. You can block me on Twitter. You can report me on Twitter. You can report me on Facebook. At some point, we have to sit here and talk about what is realistic with this team. You almost lost Sage Ryan because of miscommunication. Not because Alabama is a dynasty. Not because Nick Saban is probably the best coach of all time and try to get Sage Ryan. How do you defend Sage Ryan almost going to Alabama? Well, Blakey didn't go. That's all you've been telling me, but Blakey didn't go. And I get that. Congratulations, but you almost lost him. See all the comments. Phil Tittle. And all the seniors need to come back next year because they stink. I'm not going to go that far. Here's the thing. They don't stink. They don't always stink. Ed mentioned this today in his press conference. We got to make sure guys come back. This show is filtered through to all 97 of people that are listening right now on all 3 platforms. My frustration is their frustration. And their frustration filters through this show. So you know what? You want me to come out and say it? Here it is on a silver platter, Jack. Oh, we're building a championship program. What? You can't line up in man-to-man, and you're saying you're only a couple steps away from winning another natty? Mr. Fajoko, I greatly appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But let me take the time to say this. We need leaders like his son. Brain Fajoko, the leadership that he showed last season. Guys, Brain Fajoko was a star on Hard Knocks. Because of what? Leadership. Mr. Fajoko, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you saying those kind words. Michael Ray, I see only OL on the recruiting board, by the way. I see only OL on the recording. Oh, offensive lineman got absolutely demolished. Look, I've been on this show defending them. They ran for a yard per carry. 1 yard per carry. Good job. But here's another thing. Hey, who did you only beat by 3 points last season? Oh, Auburn. That's right. So the best offense of all time got held out to 23 points and only won by 3. Well, Blake, it was a sloppy field. Sloppy field, my rear end. Kevin Steele and that Auburn defense brought it to that ass. That's what happened last year. You had a guy in the name of Joe Burrow who came out there and said, you know what? This is Daddy's team. And this is Daddy's national championship. And you ain't taking this Heisman, and you ain't taking this Natty, and you ain't taking this away from me. Nope. As Draymond Green, the fourth man for the Golden State Warriors, would say, nope. We need innovation in the run game and pass game, so Scott Linehan is stealing money from LSU. Can't convert the ball on third down. I mean, Vic is right here on YouTube in the comments saying, I mean, how many times did Clyde Edwards-Helaire catch the ball out of the backfield? It's an extension of the running game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had the biggest catch on third down and maybe in LSU history when he catches it off of his shoelace on 3rd and 3 and gets a first down. Mark Lorraine. Okay, I see what you're saying. Only one offensive line in the recruiting class. They're probably going to get another one or two. That they need a couple more. Blaine Smith on Facebook Live says, been saying that no less than 4 offensive linemen in each class. I agree with you. Nick Gridger says, what's up, Blake? LSU has no leaders. At least there is no fire on the sidelines. And Ed talked about that today. Congratulations, Shay Dixon. Shay Dixon said, Coach. Shay Dixon, of all people, came out and said, Coach, on the sidelines, it seems dead. Guys, you do realize that LSU was down to Auburn 3 years ago, 20-0. And Danny freaking Etling and Russell Gage, let me repeat, the 2 LSU Tigers that led you back from a 20-0 deficit. Danny Etling and Russell Gage. Now, Russell Gage is showing some stuff in the NFL. By the way, he's one of my slot guys in my fantasy league. Just throwing that out there. Led you back on a Stephon Sullivan who took a jet sweep and got into the end zone, who's now playing defensive end and for Seattle in the NFL, brought you back. But Blake, we have young guys. Okay. But Blake, we got young guys. Remember, they're saying that now. But the last time I checked, Jacoby Stevens, Glenn Logan, junior college transfer player Ali Gay, Neil Farrell, Damone Clark, Micah Baskerville, Todd Harris, Derek Stingley, Andre Anthony. Guys, unless I'm going crazy, that's not young players. That's not young players. Now, let me bring up this comment. The 10th man. Yes, sir. Mr. Corey Kaye. The 10th man always strong. And Black Magic, Pine Proud, Washington Paris strong. That's true. That is true. Derek Dillon hitting that quick little post, getting him into the end zone. Brandy Blake says that's not young. But I want to get to this comment. Everyone joining us, we greatly appreciate everyone listening to the podcast with our good partners over at Believe. We appreciate it. Everyone join in the show. Hit the like and share and retweet on Facebook on Twitter and Facebook. Hit the like and share. Matt Canada hurt his draft stock, Russell Gage. Matt Canada is leading the offense in the NFL that's undefeated. Let me repeat what I just said. Matt Canada is on the offensive staff and the quarterback's coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. By the way, Chase Claypool, who's a wide receiver, has, I think, 3 rushing touchdowns off of jet sweeps. Throwing that out there. Beck and Sage going to bring that fire. They better. Beck's definitely going to bring that fire. Hopefully Sage can too. But from an environment standpoint, guys, you already know, and girls, you already know the radio shows that I go on to. And texting with the host of those shows and texting with the guest that goes on those shows who cover the SEC. My phone is my camera, so I'd show it to you. But every single week, I'm getting text and phone calls saying, bro, you lost Sage Ryan? How did that happen? How is that a lack of focus? Michael Ray on Facebook says Jacoby is not a safety and his butt in the ball, probably in the box, and stay there. Man, Michael, I don't know how many linebackers, though, get stiff-armed by Bo Nix. A very erratic Bo Nix for a touchdown. We do know that Bo Nix was the number one rusher for Auburn and threw for over 300 yards. 300 yards. Stephen Miller says, I had some high draftable hopefuls lose some draft stock on Saturday. Big time. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com says, what in the wide world of sports is going on in here? Well, you missed a pretty fireable Ruffino's rants here, Mike. Very, very fireable, if I do say so myself. David Sheffield says, what's wrong inside the locker room? He asked the question on Facebook. Well, let me tell you, there's no leadership. There's no heart. There's no bark. There's nobody calling people out. Guys, you know the story by now. Joe Burrow was going up to guys like Devin White, picking a fight, saying, this is my team. Who's that dog, man? Stephen Miller, who always says this, and I think it's freaking hilarious. We got cats. We ain't got dogs. We got cats sitting at the door going, meow. I want dogs at LSU right now. You got them. It's in them. Here's the crazy thing. Guys, you are more talented. LSU is more talented than Mississippi State. They are more talented than Missouri. They are more talented than pretty much everybody on their stinking schedule right now. Yes, we can make the Auburn for Alabama. You're not. Even the freshmen. You have more talent than all of those Rudy Poos. None of those Rudy Poos. You got players on InstaFace or Instagram laughing and joking after getting beat by 37 points. And here's another thing for everybody who was talking to me about TJ Finley, bringing it in. Oh, like I told you he was bad. Boo, Rudy Poo, because you were in these comments saying, oh my God, he's so great. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Joe Burrow, nobody would have done good last week against that team when that offensive line couldn't bust a grape with two sumo wrestlers trying to hit themselves. How do I have more fire and fight than some of these kids on this team? Let's take the kids out of it because it comes from the top down. When's the last time y'all saw Ed Orgeron absolutely blow a gasket on the sidelines? I want to be positive. Blow a gasket. You've been positive for 5 weeks now. Blow the gasket wide open. You guys don't like me saying this, but this is the truth. The God's honest truth. Nick Saban cursed a player out because he jumped off sides when he was up 41-0. People at Alabama were saying that Pete Golden was a horrible-ass coach, shutting out Mississippi State more than LSU can say. Clint Verbeek says, my bad, my dude. I missed the first 20 minutes. The darn kids. It's all right, brother. It's all good. You're going to want to probably go back and listen to the first 20 minutes, though, because talking about blowing a gasket, I lost it. Sam Bacon. Coach Sam Bacon. Russ, call. Step up, ball. Phone number says Eric. Okay, Eric. Here we go. 225-435-9387. Guys, if you want to call into the show, you can. It's right there. 225. Right? Boom. Look at that. It's like magic. 225. Oh, I messed up the phone call or messed up the number. 225-435-9387. There you guys go. I'll post it right here. I will post it right here. There you go. Michael Ray says Coach O's scared of the transfer portal. He blow a gasket. So what? It got you Joe Burrow. Say, dog, it got you Joe Burrow. Hey, let me tell you something. Somebody that was a star in the beginning of the season used to be in that locker room and in those quarterback meetings with that guy, miles and miles of heart. I want to make this going. All 79 of you. Miles and miles of heart, but smell Miles, M-Y-L-E-S. Not like Miles, like Les Miles. Good God, no. He don't even know how to throw a forward pass. Good thing about him catching COVID is he can't pass it to anybody. All right. I get fired up, bro. I get fired up. I shouldn't have said that. Bundy says that's why Nick's the GOAT. Yeah, that's why he's the GOAT. Josh Taylor says Clinton Blake had his good mad face on earlier. Go back and watch. Yeah. Charles Reeves from the Primetime Podcast. What's up, my friend? He says rephrased it for you, Blake. Coach O had lost the locker room. True. Oh man, he's got the highly ceiling, says Joseph. As of today, Miles is better. Yeah, he does have a high ceiling. Corey Kaye says, where's Stingley? Dude is getting beat up. Well, Stingley's on YouTube making videos. So I'll leave it at that. Guys, you can call in. I know y'all are just asking for the number, but 225-435-9387. I've gone through all of this, and you guys have seen probably by now on Twitter my Tell the Truth Monday. But here's where I kind of want to leave this here. Okay? Everyone is talking about Bo Pelini, and I get that. But, man, and look, I don't care really. Now, I care. I don't like losing. I don't care. But, man, it would be one thing if we were losing with young players, and we've shown that you're starting 22, 19 of those guys are upperclassmen. I wouldn't mind. Oh, and by the way, in that list, I forgot Jabril Cox. There's another one. I wouldn't mind if we got beat by Auburn this past Saturday. See, really and truthfully, wouldn't have minded. Here's what I do care about, though, moving forward, and why I care about it right now as much as I do, is you're getting skull drugged. Guys, go back and look at all of the recruiting classes for LSU and tell me that the talent is not there. Somebody, let's go right here. Tell me in the comments. Is anybody outside of Alabama and possibly Florida on your schedule any more talented than you are? Seriously. Name it. Is anybody in the SEC more talented than you are? Man, look. Because at some point, when you go man-to-man coverage across the board and you're saying your head coach is coming out on a Monday saying we're blowing calls, blowing them how? How? No fight. Dylan Landry says roster-wise, no. Talking about the talent. Roster-wise, there's nobody maybe outside of Alabama that's got more talent than you. Possibly, again, maybe a Florida on the offensive side, but their defense isn't any better. Bama is way more talented. I think if we get better, we can give UF a great game. That's fine. After the season that we just had last year and 34 departures from LSU, I'm okay with them being 8-2, slipping up, even losing another game and being 7-3 because you do have a lot of new faces. I am okay with that after coming off of a national title. That might just be me. I don't like losing, but that just might just be me. But guys, the realistic truth is you should at absolute worst, be 4-1. You can't run the football. You can't stop the run. If you don't believe me and you think that this is all scheme, go look at all of the photos that we posted on Twitter. Please, God, go look at them. And pictures, look, as the old saying goes, the sky and the eye don't lie. When you have guys in position to make plays at the line of scrimmage to bring a ball carrier down, how is that scheme? Somebody please tell me when you have 3 guys at the line of scrimmage with 1 ball carrier and he breaks loose in the open field that is scheme. Dylan Landry says, I think we finished 5-5. Dylan, if we're lucky, we'll go 5-5. If we're with this team and the energy that they have. Now, look, I know that Ed Orgeron is undefeated, coming off of a loss, but that streak's about to probably get beat. Clint Verbeek says, we will be all right. No way last year was one-year wonder. No, I agree with you there, Clint. Vic on YouTube says George Munoz should have been retained by Coach O. Needs to get Jarvis Landry to come talk to this team ASAP. Jarvis Landry gonna throw them hands like your boy Wims yesterday for the Bears, who got that 2-game suspension thrown on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Look, let me tell you something. I don't mad. I'm saying look a lot, but look, I ain't that mad. Hey, at least they got fight. Man, Dan Mullen. Y'all know when Kyle Trask got hit late in that game this past Saturday that Dan Mullen and that entire sideline went absolutely ballistic when their quarterback got hit? Do you think that would happen for TJ Finley or Miles Brennan? No, because TJ Finley did get hit after the whistle was blown. A penalty should have been thrown. His helmet got flown off, and nobody was throwing them hands like they're Sylvester Stallone and Rocky III going up against Glover Lang. We're about to get to some Saint stuff. Let's get to some of these comments. Joseph says 4-6 for this LSU's team. Charles Reeves from the Primetime Podcast says LSU has Auburn at the 1 and they couldn't contain edge. Auburn gains 26. Yeah, the picture's on my photo on Twitter. I mean, Coach Josh Taylor says, based on Saturday's game, I'm not sure who else will beat. Me either. Doubt unlikely on Periscope Twitter says it didn't happen for Joe against UCF. I'm going to need to go look at that. But were they running after? I don't know. It's a good point, but I don't know. He says in 2000, or whoever says in 2018. No, but they did it at Ole Miss when he got hit out of bounds. They did it at Texas A&M. They did it at Auburn. They did it at Florida. All those late hits. That happened more than it didn't happen. But when it happened to Kyle Trask, they went bananas. Bananas. That's how I remember how to spell bananas. That's that Franklinton education for you. When we going to hear Blake rant about Sean Payton not running the freaking clock down at the end of the game? I got to put that kid to bed. We would talk about it, Coach, but Sean Payton blocked me on Twitter. So, Eric, numbers right here, brother. That we sent it to you a little bit earlier. Numbers right there. I'll post it one more time. 225-435-9387. Guys, you can't call into the show. We will take your phone calls right here on AYS. Tell me what you think about the game on Saturday and the future of LSU and or some Saints, whatever you guys want to talk about. That's sports related. Yeah, Coach, he blocked me on Twitter. Because I said, man, why are you putting Taysom in the game right there when Drew had completed 9 straight passes? Hit me with that hotline bling, says Stephen Miller. Clint Verbeek says, absolutely, why not run the ball 3 times with the remaining timeout and OT? I don't know. Hey, they won the game. We'll talk about some Saints stuff in just a second. Colin Thibodeau says Joe is built differently mentally when it comes to taking hits. Yeah, he is. Yep, he sure was. I mean, look, we can continue to talk about this team, but I got my rant out. I got, I pretty much out what I needed to say. But here's another thing too, guys, before we get to some Saints. If I got to sit here and you got to bring somebody in. All right, we got a phone call. All right, you're on live with Blake Ruffino and AYS. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to tonight?
Hey, man, it's Eric from Vegas.
Hey, Eric, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I was kind of curious. I've been looking at a lot of things. I see that Ed wants to build a championship team, and that bothers me a lot. I'm just kind of wondering why he wants to do that and not build a dynasty. Can you speak on that? Like Alabama, they built a dynasty. We don't.
Here's what I'll say, Eric. If you remember, after the first national title for Alabama, they went 9-3 in the regular season. So to say that it is after our first national title, just lo and behold, that Nick would go back out there and do what he did, it shows us that he didn't. And he even lost the game the following year. So it did take him a little bit of time to build that dynasty. However, I agree with you. It seems like it seems as if that they don't have that fight that a Nick Saban team does.
No, we don't. We don't. So, and that's my position right now. It's like, why can't we, continue what we had? I know we can't be what we were last year. I know that. Everybody knows we can't, right? But you can continue to build something other than just wanting to win a championship. Ed talked today. He said, we're going to build a championship team. I think you build something for the future. You don't just look and try and build a championship team. You don't do that. That's not what Nick Saban does. He builds every day, every year. I just don't get that.
Well, Stephen Miller on Facebook Live brings up a good point. They also don't have the kids and the underclassmen leave as early around Alabama and Clemson and even Ohio State for that matter as they do LSU. And I think that's a big factor. Actually, I've been barking up that tree for so long that I'm hoarse. You got to get players to be retained at a program. Seniors, Travis Etienne, just one of them included, came back for a senior year. I think that's how you build dynasties. It's not just in the recruiting class, but being able to recruit your own team back onto the field, I think is number one, probably, if not the biggest thing in building a dynasty and winning multiple national titles.
Correct. But my problem is how did they keep that going, like that motion going? It will not go away. They continue to fight.
Hello. All right, we lost Eric there. All right, Charles Reeves, you can call in, my friend, 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387. Before we get to another phone call, though, however, let me get over to my good friend, Mr. John Patton from Area Home Lending. Guys, with all the help from the Federal Reserve, it has pushed mortgage rates down to the lowest that they've ever been. Guys, I cannot speak highly enough on Mr. John Patton. Talk to him again today. If you're considering buying a new home, saving money on a mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi, the timing has never been better. With over 15 years of experience, I know that John will do the best job for you. If you mention this show through the end of the month, John will send his team out for a free appraisal. 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. Tell him Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. I had a phone call here. Okay. We got Mr. Charles Reeves from the Primetime Podcast on the hotline. Charles, what's up?
What's up, man? It's dark and gloomy these days, huh?
I don't know how much you caught of the show already today, Charles, but yeah, and you got some pretty ticked off people, but yeah, it's pretty gloomy.
I mean, look, but at the end of the day, can you blame anybody? Because, look, it's one thing to lose a game. You lose against Troy. You lose against Mississippi State in years that, you know, you thought the program was ascending or getting better, maybe a turnaround. But you come off a national championship season and you have a team that doesn't give effort. There's no excuse for that at the end of the day.
None. Like, Charles, there's zero excuse. Like, I could see, how do I say? I could see a half of football where that happens, a la Alabama versus the Citadel a couple years ago, right? Like, stuff like that's going to happen, okay? But then they come out and refocus and score 50 unanswered points. But through 5 games, Charles?
It's unheard of. And it's like week 1, right? We look at it and we say, oh, man, no in-game adjustments. All right, you come back, you beat Vanderbilt. Then you come and lose to Missouri. And I tried to call you after that Missouri game because I was right there with you saying, you know, not only was the defense bad, but the Scott Linehan hire was awful. Well, then all of a sudden you beat South Carolina. Oh, maybe things are turning around. Let's go play an Auburn team that at the end of the day, talent-wise, you're better than. An Auburn team that, in my opinion, is not that good, should have lost to Ole Miss, and you get the brakes beaten off of you. And you've got guys that have no effort at the end of the game. And not only that, look, this game was close at the end of the first quarter. I mean, it was neck and neck in win probability.
Yeah, they were tied, right? They were tied at the end of the first quarter.
You just don't have it, you know?
No, they don't. Charles,
no one scored, right? And
Charles, how do they fix
crazy.
it? You know,
it's
like
crazy, man.
How do they fix this going forward? Because, I mean, there's a disconnect. There's no fire. There's no fight. How do you fix it moving forward? Like, what do they have to do?
They have to get guys in there that are going to put effort forward. If it's freshmen, play the freshmen. I mean, look, you talk about these recruiting classes. You had a good one last year. Get some of those guys playing time. If Miles Brennan comes back, look, I'm all for giving him playing time, but Miles Brennan's not the future. Let's let TJ start. You know, let's let him finish the season out, and let's let guys go out there. They're going to put effort in. There's a reason why your 2 number 8 teams are no longer starters on this team, and that says a lot.
and even, you know, there's the rumors now. I don't know, you know, how true or not, but that Jacoby Stevens didn't want it. You know, like,
yeah,
no one came. Like, we've had people. Okay, and look, listen, the number 18 thing to me, I think it's great, but, you know, it's not like I get very like, oh my God, who's going to wear number 18? That's not me. However, I do kind of sit back and sit here and think sometimes too, Charles, where's the guys that go in Orgeron's office and says, I want it? You know, Jonathan Giles, for all of his bad stuff that he did, he walked into O's office and says, look, I've been balling out in practice. Give me 7. At least he had the balls to go in there and say, I want it. Now, you know, what happens on the field is what happens on the field. But you would imagine that somebody on this team would go in there and say, give it to me. This is my team, right? Like, nobody on this team has that in them.
And it's just crazy because you came from a team that had so many leaders. And yes, look, Joe Burrow is a leader by himself, but you can't forget about the likes of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Lloyd Cushenberry, Rashard Lawrence. Where are the leaders that were on this team last year that are still on this team? Jacoby Stevens is one of them, and he's been invisible, absolutely invisible. A guy like Todd Harris, I was excited to see, also been invisible. Look, the 18s not playing much anymore these days is a problem in and of itself. But you said it earlier, this team is probably the 3rd or 4th most talented roster top to bottom, and they're playing like probably the 2nd or 3rd worst team in the league right now.
Charles, you ever heard the saying, look like Tarzan, fight like Jane? You ever heard that?
Hey, yes,
Is that not the epitome of this team right now?
it is. And it's from the top to the bottom because the coaching staff is right there with them.
Last question, and we're gonna get to the Saints and then end the show. So, if you're Orgeron, what do you do, Charles? Like, I mean, what do you do? Because you got a lot of season left. You got 5 games left. You can go 2-8, or you can turn this thing around right now. What do you do? What do you say in the football operations office?
Well, I'm bringing my leaders in one, and I think that's something that needs to do. I'm meeting with Scott Woodward and saying, Scott, can I get the money? I made a mistake again. And I'm sorry I made a mistake, but Bo Pelini needs to go. And really, maybe Scott Linehan should go too, because I haven't really seen much improvement on Scott Linehan's side. But look, this is one of those things where Orgeron needs to swallow his pride, because keeping Bo Pelini around next year isn't going to do anything. You know, people try to make the comparison to when Orgeron lost to Troy, that, people wanted to fire him then, and look what he did. Well, Orgeron's team improved after that week. Have you seen an improvement yet from Bo Pelini? Because I haven't. And it's, they say they're going to simplify the defense. They're going to do this, do that. Man, I'm looking at this team, Blake. There's probably 5 or 6 guys in this defense that are going to be playing consistently on Sundays. And besides your cornerbacks and Ojulari and Gay, I mean, I've seen nothing from this defense. It's sickening. It really is sickening.
Charles Reese from the Primetime Podcast. Charles, tell everybody where they can find all your stuff.
Primetime_pod. Did a new thing with David Grubb coming out soon tonight, I think. We broke a lot of things down, and we live in a crazy world, Maybe LSU does beat Alabama, but that'd be right on par.
It would be the most 2020 thing of all time, bro.
All right, Blake, take care.
All right, man. We'll bring you on soon. That's Mr. Charles Reese from the Primetime Podcast. All right, let's get to some Saints stuff very quickly before we get out of here. We will take some Saints calls, even though Sean Payton has blocked me on Twitter. We'll take some Saints calls. Number one, look, the Saints have won three games in a row. Now, I know they won 4, but 3 games in a row where they've only won the game by 3 points. 3. Now, 2 of them were in overtime. Okay? Now, when I sit here and think to myself, man, this team could easily have that record flipped. Like, no other questions about it, that record could flip. And you could be 2-5. Because 2 overtime games, you've had really close games. Now, some games you walked away with and against teams that you should have. But, man, they're really playing this really tight. Now, they were still undefeated in the month of October. It seems to be the trend. Always in October, Sean turns his team around. But, guys, there's 2 things that worry the bejesus out of me and has been for a long time with this team. Number one, Marshawn Lattimore and his defensive back run. Oh, well, Blake, it's zone. Oh, well, Blake, he should have done this. BS. He got twisted around like a bottle twice and had a touchdown called against him against Allen Robinson. And he was right there on him, but just couldn't cover him. Remember the number 1 corner that you took in the draft? That guy, remember him? He's still there. 2-13 on third downs. 2-13. Alvin Kamara getting 5.5 yards per carry, and you're having third downs where it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and you're not running the ball, or you're throwing screens to Alvin Kamara. Those are the 2 most known play calls of Sean Payton, y'all. Like, duh. However, I know that Dennis Allen is getting a lot of flack, and as he should at times. As he should. But at the same time, when you hold a team in today's society and in today's NFL to 23 points on multiple occasions, you better win that game. You better win that game. Alvin Kamara going 12 carries for close to 70 yards, 9 catches, 99 yards. You're getting him the ball, which is fantastic. The good thing about this team, and the thing that I like most about the Saints team, is you have some weapons that have been out, right? Mike Thomas has been out. Emmanuel Sanders has been out. You needed Jared Cook to step up, and he did. Taysom Hill caught a big-time pass over the middle and scored. Had some big-time runs. You played a really tough Bears defense on the road, and you came out with a win. I had a lot of people ask me this question today because Kwon Alexander, the really good linebacker from the San Francisco 49ers, who everybody on here knows that he played at LSU, comes over, and you can take out a guy like an Alex Anzalone and put Kwon Alexander next to Demario Davis, might be one of the biggest steals, and you're getting him for a fifth? Here's the biggest thing for this Saints team that I think goes unnoticed. Hey, guys, how many times did you hear Khalil Mack's name yesterday? Seriously, take a step back and ask yourself this question. How much did you hear Khalil Mack's name mentioned in pass rush? You didn't because it was non-existent. So when you ask this simple question of why didn't they go get Patrick Queen? Why didn't they go get this guy? Why didn't they go get that guy? And why did they get Cesar Ruiz, the center out of Michigan? Did you see what he did on multiple occasions against Khalil Mack? Arguably one of the best pass rushers in all of the NFL? This offensive line is starting to come together. They're giving Drew time. They're able to run the football. But, man, did y'all see even the tape on Drew's shoulder yesterday? Man, when I saw that to start the game, I was thinking to myself, oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. He can't throw the ball deep. And as soon as that came out my mouth, and as soon as I told my beautiful wife, Megan, that, I just don't know why they're not trying to force the ball down the field more. This team's got to find ways to get more explosive. Mark LaGrange says, how about Deontay Harris? Hey, look, he can give you some explosive plays. Maybe give him some quick passes, do something. Josh Taylor on Facebook says, pass rush was really good too. Hey, man, how bad did they miss Marcus Davenport? You want to know why the Saints went up and traded with the Packers to go get Marcus Davenport? That's why. They need to keep him in the game more. He needs to get in better shape to be able to stay on the field more. And which we saw when he was on the field generating the pass rush, who did it help? Cam Jordan. And Cam Jordan came up with a big-time sack. Yeah, Dylan Landry, I saw this. The Ole Miss tight end, the freshman. Dylan, what was his name again? I should have started off the show with that. Was released from the hospital. Test came back all clean. Ole Miss tight end in practice today got hit. Was still, didn't move. Really scary scene. Went to the hospital and just got released. So that's really good. Blaine Smith says Zach Vaughn is nowhere to be found, though. Yeah, he's not. And I don't know why. He is a rookie, third-round pick out of Wisconsin. That is a little interesting. Look, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, does anybody in football like C.J. Gardner-Johnson? You got Mike Thomas, your $100 million wide receiver, getting in fights with him. You got Javon Wims getting in a fight with him, throwing punches. Man, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's getting under people's skin, y'all. And from a defensive player, I absolutely love that. At least we spent 45 minutes talking about the fight from the Saints. Fight from LSU. At least somebody on the Saints has it. At least somebody on the Saints has those cojones. DeMarcus Thomas. Yeah, that's right. DeMarcus Thomas. All right, guys. Well, we're going to call it for tonight. Let's see. Real quick, says Stephen Miller. Can you believe that Ed is giving this team 4 days off this weekend? No. Yes and no. Yes and no. It's typical of how the season's going, huh? What you gonna say, dawg? I mean, Ed probably wants off more time than the players do right now, if you get my drift. Colin Thibodeau says, CJ Garner-Johnson said that man hits like a female on Twitter. I saw that. That dude don't care, bro. That dude don't care. All right, guys, we're going to get on out of here. But before we get out of here, don't forget to go see all of our great sponsors, Mr. Woody Clark over at Robertson Brothers Ford, Mr. John Patton as well. And don't forget our good friend, Mr. Mike Bazile. Guys, if you live for it, you better plan for it. 504-343-1576. 504-343-1576. And our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. Guys, my name's Blake Ruffino. This is AYS. Y'all have a good night.